Today, we're going to tackle a fundamental question that impacts every aspect of our health. How much protein do we actually need? The answer might seem simple at first, but the science behind it is intricate, and it's crucial to understand why protein is so essential for our bodies, how much we need, and what factors influence that need. First, let's start by acknowledging that protein is one of the three primary macronutrients, along with fats and carbohydrates, necessary for optimal health. It's the building block of life. Your muscles, enzymes, hormones, immune cells, and even your skin, hair, and nails are made up of proteins. In fact, everything that's living depends on protein in some form. So why is protein so important? Well, every cell in your body contains proteins that perform countless functions. They repair tissue, produce enzymes and hormones, and maintain a balanced immune system. If you're active, whether you're lifting weights or going for a run, protein is what helps repair the muscle fibers that get broken down during exercise. Without an adequate amount of protein, muscle recovery and growth would be significantly impaired. Now let's dive into how much protein you actually need. The general guideline is 0.8 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight for the average person. And this is sufficient to meet the basic demands of maintaining health. However, this recommendation isn't set in stone. It varies depending on several factors: your activity level, age, gender, overall health, and even your goal. Protein is an essential macronutrient that plays a crucial role in nearly every biological process. It is made up of amino acids, which are the building blocks necessary for constructing the molecules that make up our body. From muscle tissue to enzymes, hormones, and immune cells, protein forms the foundation of our physical structure and function. It is involved in the growth, repair, and maintenance of tissues, and its importance extends beyond just the structural aspects of the body. The role of protein can be seen in its involvement in the regulation of biochemical processes and the proper functioning of almost every system in the body. Proteins are needed for the construction and repair of muscles, which is one of the most well-known functions of this macronutrient. When we engage in physical activity, especially resistance training or endurance exercises, the muscle fibers experience small tears. Protein is required to rebuild these fibers, making them stronger and more resilient over time. Without adequate protein, muscle repair would be impaired, leading to diminished strength, slower recovery, and possibly even muscle loss. This is why athletes and those who engage in intense physical exercise require more protein than the average sedentary individual. Beyond muscle repair, protein is vital for the creation of enzymes, which are proteins that catalyze chemical reactions within the body. Enzymes are necessary for digestion, metabolism, and virtually every biochemical process that occurs within cells. Without enzymes, the body would not be able to break down food, produce energy, or maintain cellular health. In this way, proteins directly influence energy production, nutrient absorption, and cellular function. Proteins also form the basis of many important hormones, including insulin, growth hormone, and thyroid hormones, which regulate metabolism, growth, and overall homeostasis within the body. Hormones are critical for communication between different parts of the body, ensuring that systems are synchronized and that various biological processes happen at the right time. For example, insulin, a hormone made of protein, regulates blood sugar levels and is vital for energy storage and cellular health. Furthermore, protein plays an integral role in the immune system. Antibodies, which are proteins, defend the body against harmful pathogens like bacteria, viruses, and toxins. When the immune system detects a foreign invader, it produces specific antibodies designed to neutralize the threat. Without sufficient protein, the body's ability to produce these antibodies would be compromised, making it more susceptible to infections and illnesses. Protein is also a key structural component of every cell in the body. Collagen, a type of protein, is the most abundant protein in the body and is the primary structural protein in connective tissues, such as skin, tendons, and ligaments. It provides strength, elasticity, and structure to the skin and other tissues, contributing to the integrity of the body's framework. Similarly, keratin, another type of protein, is essential for the health of hair, nails, and the outer layer of skin. Finally, protein influences the balance of fluids within the body. Proteins such as albumin, found in the blood, help maintain fluid balance by preventing excessive fluid from leaking into tissue. This is important for maintaining blood pressure and ensuring that the body's cells are properly hydrated, which in turn supports optimal cellular function. Without the right levels of protein, the body's ability to regulate fluid balance would be compromised, leading to swelling, dehydration, and other health issues. In sum, protein is a multifaceted and vital nutrient required for the proper functioning of nearly every system in the body. Whether it's repairing tissues, producing enzymes and hormones, strengthening the immune system, or providing structural support, protein is indispensable for health and well-being. The general recommendation of 0.8 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight has been established by various health organizations as the baseline amount of protein required for the average person to maintain overall health. This amount is designed to meet the needs of individuals who are not particularly active and whose daily activities do not place significant stress on the body. This guideline assumes that the individual is living a relatively sedentary lifestyle, meaning their protein needs are focused mainly on basic bodily functions, such as maintaining muscle mass, repairing tissues, and supporting metabolic process. For example, a person weighing 70 kilograms, about 54 pounds, would need approximately 56 grams of protein per day, according to this recommendation. The rationale behind this figure is based on the assumption that the body needs enough protein to maintain the balance between protein breakdown and synthesis. In a sedentary individual, the body is not under significant physical stress, and the demand for protein is relatively stable. Protein needs are met through daily consumption of food sources, with the assumption that the protein consumed is of sufficient quality, containing all the essential amino acids required for the body's function. This baseline is sufficient for people who are generally healthy and do not engage in intense physical activity. However, this number is often seen as a minimum, especially when it comes to individuals with specific health concerns, fitness goals, or lifestyle factors that require increased protein intake. While the 0.8 grams per kilogram of body weight is suitable for maintaining health in a general sense, it does not fully account for factors like muscle maintenance, exercise recovery, or the increased demands of an aging population. Protein needs are not one size fits all, and the needs of individuals vary based on several key factors, including activity level, age, gender, and health status. It's important to note that the recommended dietary intake is designed to prevent protein deficiency rather than to optimize performance or support muscle growth. For individuals engaged in regular exercise or athletes, protein requirements may need to be higher than the baseline recommendation in order to support muscle recovery, growth, and performance. In fact, studies suggest that athletes and people who engage in intense physical activity may require significantly more protein, sometimes up to 1.2 to 2.0 grams per kilogram of body weight, depending on the type and intensity of their activity. Likewise, older adults may need more protein to preserve lean muscle mass and support muscle function, as aging tends to lead to a natural decline in muscle mass, a process known as sarcopenia. In these cases, protein intake above the baseline can help slow this process and preserve mobility, strength, and overall function. Likewise, individuals recovering from illness or surgery may also have higher protein needs in order to rebuild tissues and support the healing process. The 0.8 grams per kilogram recommendation serves as a general guideline, but it's important to remember that it's not a hard and fast rule. Nutritional needs are deeply individualized, and factors such as lifestyle choices, fitness goals, and overall health can all influence the actual amount of protein someone needs. For anyone seeking to optimize their protein intake, whether to enhance physical performance, improve recovery, or support overall health, Understanding one's unique protein requirements is essential to making informed dietary decisions. Active individuals and athletes have significantly higher protein requirements than sedentary people due to the physical stress they place on their bodies through exercise, particularly activities like resistance training, endurance running, and intense aerobic workout. When engaging in these types of activities, muscle fibers experience micro tears and damage. Protein plays a critical role in repairing these tears and rebuilding the muscle tissue stronger and more resilient. The process of muscle protein synthesis, or the creation of new muscle proteins, is essential for recovery and growth. To facilitate this process and optimize muscle repair, athletes need more protein than the baseline recommendation of 0.8 grams per kilogram of body weight. The increased demand for protein in active individuals is not limited to muscle repair. Protein also helps replenish energy stores, supports immune function, and ensures the proper functioning of the metabolic pathways that are heavily utilized during physical exertion. For athletes, protein is involved in maintaining the balance between muscle breakdown, catabolism, and muscle building, anabolism, which is especially important during periods of intense training. Without an adequate supply of protein, athletes may experience slower recovery, increased muscle soreness, and over time, the loss of muscle mass, which can impair performance and increase the risk of injury. For most athletes, the general recommendation for protein intake increases to 1.2 to 2.0 grams per kilogram of body weight, depending on the intensity and type of exercise. Endurance athletes like long-distance runners or cyclists may need protein closer to the lower end of this range, around 1.2 to 1.4 grams per kilogram, while those engaged in strength training or bodybuilding, where muscle growth and repair are a priority, may require more, often closer to the 1.6 to 2. Strength athletes who engage in high-intensity resistance training are at greater risk of muscle breakdown, so their protein needs are higher to facilitate the repair and growth of muscle tissue after exercise. It's important to note that the timing of protein intake also plays a critical role in supporting muscle growth and recovery. Consuming protein after exercise, typically within a 30-minute to 1-hour window, is essential for maximizing muscle protein synthesis. This period is often referred to as the anabolic window, when the muscles are particularly receptive to protein and are in a state that favors growth and repair. Athletes are encouraged to consume a protein-rich meal or snack during this window to optimize the recovery process. Furthermore, spreading protein intake evenly throughout the day across all meals and snacks helps maintain a consistent supply of amino acids to support ongoing muscle repair and growth. While protein intake is essential for athletes, it's also important to remember that protein alone is not enough to support optimal performance and recovery. A balanced diet that includes sufficient carbohydrates for energy and fats for overall health is crucial for providing the body with the necessary resources to perform at its best. Carbohydrates, for example, replenish glycogen stores that are depleted during exercise, while fats support hormone production, which is vital for muscle growth and recovery. In summary, athletes and active individuals require more protein than sedentary individuals due to the demands of physical activity on muscle repair, recovery, and overall health. Their protein needs may range from 1.2 to 2.0 grams per kilogram of body weight, depending on the intensity and type of activity. Additionally, proper timing and distribution of protein intake are key factors in optimizing recovery and supporting muscle growth. As we age, our bodies undergo a series of changes that affect nearly every system, including our muscles, bones, and metabolism. One of the most significant changes that occurs with aging is a gradual loss of muscle mass, a process known as sarcopenia. Sarcopenia is associated with a decline in strength, balance, and overall mobility, and it can significantly impact quality of life, making everyday activities more challenging and increasing the risk of falls and fractures. One of the most effective ways to mitigate this process and preserve muscle mass as we age is by increasing our protein intake. Research has shown that older adults have higher protein requirements than younger individuals. This is partly because aging is associated with a decreased ability to synthesize muscle proteins efficiently. Even with adequate dietary protein, Older individuals often experience a blunted response to protein intake, meaning their muscles may not respond as effectively to the protein consumed. To counteract this, studies suggest that older adults should consume more protein than the standard 0.8 grams per kilogram of body weight recommended for sedentary individuals. A protein intake of around 1.2 grams per kilogram of body weight is often recommended for older adults, and in some cases, even higher amounts may be beneficial, particularly if the individual is recovering from illness or surgery. In addition to maintaining muscle mass, adequate protein intake in older adults supports several other aspects of health. Protein is necessary for the maintenance of skin, hair, and nail health, and it plays an essential role in the immune system. As we age, the immune system tends to become less efficient, making older individuals more susceptible to infections and illnesses. By ensuring adequate protein intake, older adults can help support the production of antibodies and other immune system proteins, which are critical for fighting off infections and maintaining overall health. Moreover, protein can also help with bone health. Collagen, a protein that makes up the structural framework of bones, tends to decrease as we age, leading to a greater risk of fractures and osteoporosis. Consuming enough protein can help support the maintenance of bone density and strength, potentially reducing the risk of fractures and improving overall skeletal health. In particular, protein intake combined with weight-bearing exercise has been shown to have a synergistic effect on bone health, helping to preserve bone mass and reduce the risk of osteoporosis. Protein also plays a role in supporting metabolism, which tends to slow down with age. As muscle mass decreases, so does metabolic rate, leading to potential weight gain and a decline in overall energy expenditure. Increasing protein intake, along with engaging in regular physical activity, can help to preserve muscle mass, which in turn helps to maintain a higher metabolic rate. This can be particularly important for managing weight and preventing obesity, a condition that can exacerbate other health problems, such as cardiovascular disease and diabetes. For older adults, the timing of protein intake is also important. Studies suggest that spreading protein consumption evenly across meals throughout the day, rather than consuming most of it in one meal, may help maximize muscle protein synthesis. Additionally, including protein-rich foods in every meal can help ensure that the body has a constant supply of amino acids to support muscle maintenance and overall health. In conclusion, as we age, our protein requirements increase in order to combat muscle loss, maintain bone health, support immune function, and preserve overall metabolic health. For older adults, increasing protein intake to around 1.2 grams per kilogram of body weight or more can be an effective strategy for mitigating the effects of aging, preserving physical function, and improving quality of life. Distributing protein intake evenly throughout the day is a crucial strategy for maximizing muscle protein synthesis and ensuring efficient recovery and muscle growth. Our bodies are more adept at utilizing protein when it is consumed in regular, consistent amounts rather than in a single large dose. The idea behind this is to maintain a constant supply of amino acids, the building blocks of protein, throughout the day, ensuring that the body is continually supported for the ongoing processes of tissue repair, growth, and muscle maintenance. When protein is consumed at evenly spaced intervals, it stimulates muscle protein synthesis at multiple points throughout the day. This is particularly important because muscle protein synthesis is not a continuous process. It fluctuates depending on various factors, including activity levels, the timing of meals, and nutrient availability. If protein is consumed in a single large meal, the body may be able to utilize some of the amino acids immediately, but the remainder of the protein may not be used as effectively, particularly if it exceeds the body's immediate need. Spacing out protein intake allows the body to constantly replenish amino acids, keeping muscle repair and growth ongoing. For example, if someone consumes protein only once a day in a large portion, their muscles may experience long periods without an adequate supply of amino acids, hindering muscle growth and repair. On the other hand, consuming protein in smaller amounts, such as 20 to 30 grams per meal, at 3 or more evenly spaced meals, ensures that the body has a more constant flow of nutrients to support muscle recovery and growth. The total amount of protein consumed throughout the day is still crucial, but the timing and distribution are just as important in supporting muscle protein synthesis effectively. Research also suggests that consuming protein in the morning as part of a balanced breakfast can jumpstart the process of muscle protein synthesis after an overnight fast. During sleep, muscle protein breakdown occurs, and having protein early in the day helps shift the body from a catabolic state where muscle is being broken down to an anabolic state where muscle is being built. This is why it's recommended to include protein in breakfast, especially for individuals who engage in physical activity, as it helps promote muscle recovery and start the day with a nutrient-rich fuel source. The importance of evenly distributing protein intake also extends beyond muscle growth to overall health. Consistent protein intake supports satiety and helps with weight management by promoting feelings of fullness throughout the day. This can be especially beneficial for individuals who are trying to manage their weight, as protein-rich meals help prevent overeating and snacking between meals. In addition, steady protein intake supports other vital functions, such as immune health, enzyme production, and the maintenance of healthy skin, hair, and nails. The body continuously requires protein for these processes, so regular intake ensures that the body's needs are consistently met. Furthermore, when protein intake is spaced evenly across the day, it helps to maintain muscle mass, especially in older adults who may experience muscle loss due to aging. For older individuals, evenly distributed protein intake can help combat the effects of sarcopenia, the age-related decline in muscle mass. Studies have shown that older adults who consume protein in smaller, more frequent meals have better muscle mass preservation than those who consume larger protein doses in a single sitting. In conclusion, the timing and distribution of protein intake are critical factors in optimizing muscle growth, recovery, and overall health. Consuming protein in smaller, evenly spaced meals throughout the day ensures that the body has a steady supply of amino acids for muscle protein synthesis and other vital functions. By following this strategy, individuals can maximize the benefits of protein, improve recovery, and support long-term health. Animal-based proteins, such as those found in meat, eggs, and dairy, are considered complete proteins because they contain all 9 essential amino acids that the body cannot produce on its own. These essential amino acids must be obtained through the diet, as they are critical for numerous bodily functions, including muscle repair, immune response, enzyme production, and overall tissue maintenance. The advantage of animal-based proteins is that they provide the full spectrum of amino acids in the right proportions, making them highly effective at supporting various biological processes, including muscle growth and recovery. This completeness makes them particularly beneficial for athletes or individuals undergoing intense physical activity, as the body can use the full range of amino acids immediately without needing to combine different sources of protein. In contrast, plant-based proteins tend to be incomplete proteins, meaning they may lack one or more of the essential amino acids. However, this does not mean that plant-based proteins are inferior or insufficient. Many plant-based proteins can still provide adequate nourishment, especially when consumed in combination with other plant-based foods. For example, beans and legumes are often low in methionine but are rich in lysine, while grains such as rice or wheat are high in methionine but lower in lysine. By combining these sources, individuals can achieve a complete amino acid profile, allowing them to meet their protein needs effectively. One common misconception is that plant-based diets cannot provide sufficient protein or that they lack the necessary amino acids to support muscle growth and overall health. While it is true that individual plant-based proteins may not be complete, a well-planned plant-based diet can provide all the essential amino acids by combining different sources throughout the day. Foods like lentils, chickpeas, quinoa, tofu, tempeh, and edamame are rich in protein and can provide significant amounts of the essential amino acids when included regularly in the diet. For individuals who follow vegetarian or vegan diets, these combined protein sources offer an effective way to ensure they are meeting their daily protein needs. In addition to amino acid content,
The digestibility and bioavailability of protein can vary between animal and plant sources. Animal proteins are generally more easily absorbed by the body, meaning that the body can make better use of the protein consumed. On the other hand, plant proteins often come with additional fiber, which can be beneficial for digestive health, but may slightly reduce the efficiency of protein absorption. Despite this, the overall impact is minimal when a varied and balanced diet is followed. For individuals who focus on plant-based diets, consuming a variety of protein-rich foods ensures that all amino acid needs are met, even if individual plant proteins are not as bioavailable as their animal counterpart. Both animal and plant-based proteins offer distinct benefits, and the choice between them largely depends on personal preferences, ethical considerations, and dietary restrictions. Animal proteins tend to be more complete and easier to digest, while plant-based proteins offer the added benefit of additional nutrients, such as fiber, antioxidants, and other micronutrients, which support overall health. A diet that includes a variety of protein sources, whether animal or plant-based, ensures that the body receives the necessary amino acids and other nutrients for optimal health, muscle maintenance, and recovery. Ultimately, the key is ensuring that the protein consumed meets an individual's specific needs, whether that is through animal or plant sources. A balanced approach that considers the diversity of protein sources, their amino acid profiles, and the overall nutrient composition of the diet will ensure that all dietary requirements are met, supporting long-term health and well-being.